Hey guys, it's Kevin again, and this is going to be my review for Ravenswood Season 1, Episode 8, I'll Sleep When I'm Dead. And again, another fantastic episode from this show. Again, I've said it before, this show cannot have a bad episode. It just seems like they are immune to bad episodes because of this whole show. There's nothing, it just keeps everything interesting, and really this episode was so interesting. There was so many cool things about it, and I really loved every minute of this episode. It was a really great one. So let's just start off with everything. So of course our main plot was Miranda and Caleb, because they're the main characters. So the show opens with Miranda. She's staring at the glass jar of hair, the thing blinding her to the Collins estate. Caleb comes in asking if she's planning on opening it, and she says of course. Caleb says that's not such a good idea, but Miranda isn't ready to listen and remain cooped up in the house. He takes the jar of hair to show Collins. He threatens him and says that if one more thing happens to someone he loves, and Collins interrupts saying, "I don't respond to ideal threats." Miranda's there. She gets angry. She explodes the glass vase. So Miranda's preparing to walk out of the cemetery. Caleb wants her to promise him that if she sees anything weird or strange that she'll let him know. And Caleb opens the jar. As he does so, the ravens start clawing aggressively, and she manages to walk free. Reminds us why this show is called Ravenswood, because of the crazy freaking fucking ravens everywhere. I mean, it's nuts. So Caleb and Olivia, they chat in the coffee shop. Olivia shows Caleb the audio file. Oh, we'll get that when we get to the Olivia plot. Caleb puts there's this file that Olivia got, and I'll talk about when we get to Olivia, a little bit more when we get to Olivia's plot. But Miranda has this horrifying vision of their car crash that got her there. And Caleb and Miranda, they do some digging. They find this mysterious book, The Unseen Forces. It might contain some answers regarding their ghosts and pact questions. They sneak into Mr. Price's office. Mr. Price is a history teacher at the local high school. This teacher, he seems a bit shady, and he clearly knows something about both the history and the history of the supernatural forces weaving through Ravenswood. And again, I really like them trying to find out more about the Five Pact. We were kind of reintroduced to that in this episode. Like, they've been trying to figure out more about it, but more in this episode than the other episodes we've been having. And I really do like that. So, Caleb and Miranda, they're mad because they didn't get the book from Mr. Price, who wouldn't let them take it home, and Miranda is sad by the fact that she's not taking well to the outside world, and then she kind of snaps at Caleb and says she doesn't really want to continue playing house here, as she called it, playing house with her. And it says he's not doing that and everything. But she says, eventually you're going to go back to school. You're going to find other girls. You're going to go to school here. Which is what happens in the next episode. The next episode, Caleb is going back to school in Ravenswood. So he's going to go to school in Ravenswood and he's going to attend there. And Miranda's saying you're going to find school in Ravenswood and you're going to find other girls there. And you're not going to, you're not going to want to stay all cooped up with me. So I really liked her advice to him. But Caleb really does not listen to her because we know he's in love with Miranda. We know the whole thing that's, going to happen to the two of them, that they're kind of supposed to be together because of the whole five-pack thing. But she's trying to kind of break that because of the five-pack thing, and I do like that. So then it ends with, as far as Caleb and Miranda go, it ends with them trying to look through an audio file indicating Springer is the person who parted the knife at Olivia's house, but the file is corrupted. While we're on the subject of Olivia, let's get to Olivia's storyline. Her storyline was very interesting in this episode. I'm definitely interested in seeing where all this goes. Olivia tries to reach out to Dillon, but he doesn't answer. At the coffee shop, Olivia talks with Tess about what happened to Springer. She thinks he might know something more. And again, the whole thing with Springer is definitely really cool. So Olivia admits to Luke that she thinks Springer was actually trying to tell her something important, that maybe he feels guilty about something. So Tess and Olivia, they go to visit Springer, but his mother's in the room. Freaks out that Olivia is there. Olivia can't understand why Springer's mother would be so vile and disgusted with her. Remy's father reveals to Olivia that her father was the DA prior to become the mayor, and, so we find that out. So Olivia tries to get closer to Springer. She manages to gain access to his room, even though she's not allowed to be there. She finds his phone, a bag of belongings. Conveniently, there's an audio file on his phone, and that says, "I did it, I planted the knife, isn't that enough?" And that's the audio file that she gives Caleb and Caleb and Miranda. So she returns to the hospital, Tess is there too, they see Colin, they leave Springer's home, and as they leave the hospital, Springer goes into cardiac arrest. Which is obviously a very bad thing. If anyone goes into cardiac arrest, it's not good. So Olivia says that Springer is suffering from a blood clot, but that he's still alive. And, so that's definitely interesting. And then, as far as her storyline ends, her storyline pretty much ends with her, she returns Springer's phone. She goes right into his room, just as she's about to leave. Springer suddenly wakes up. We don't know what got him to wake up or what triggered him to wake up, but somehow he woke up. He wakes up, and he says, "You need to know, he made me do it, all of it." And Olivia asks, "Who?" And he tells her, "Dillon." Yes, that's how this episode ends. He says that Dillon was the one who made her do it. I kind of like that we're not seeing a lot of Dillon. It's kind of like the opposite of Pretty Little Liars. I know I'm Pretty Little Liars, so I want to see more of Allie. But what I like is that Dillon's getting mentioned a lot in Ravenswood, and it's kind of Olivia's point of view. I would eventually like to see Dillon, but for right now, we don't need to see him. We just need to see the mystery of everything. Because Ravenswood's more about mystery rather than a character-driven series. You know, Pretty Little Liars is more a character-driven series. While they do have the mystery in there, it's more of a character-driven series. This show is definitely more of a mystery type of show, and I do like that more about it. And now let's get to the biggest part, which had to do with Remy. Remy's plot was by far the most interesting part of this episode. Everything was interesting in this episode, but Remy's part really made up for, you know, just... Remy's part really was the best part of the episode. I thought her plot was so cool. So Remy and Luke, they're at the hospital, and Remy's checking herself into a sleep clinic. And Remy and her father, they meet with a sleep doctor. They tell Remy their sleep disorders might be related to the sleep troubles, particularly the nightmare she had when she was a little girl. And apparently, Remy was actually treated for sleepwalking and night terrors when she was younger, which was a pretty big reveal. I didn't really expect that. So Remy talked to Luke about this new revelation, and Olivia, you know, that's the same time Olivia admits to Luke about all this stuff, and Remy's father reveals to Olivia that her father was the DA prior to becoming the mayor and was responsible for putting Springer's father in jail. You don't become a politician without making any enemies along the way. That's what Remy's father says. So Remy prepares for her sleep study. Remy wakes up from her nap. She takes the wires off her head. She gets up, opens the door. Only she opens the door, not to the hospital, but to her room as a child. And when old Remy sees child Remy sleeping, she's in a dream. The man with the knife enters. The man lifts the blade over child Remy, but old Remy shorts get away from her. The man disappears. A second passes before the man grabs old Remy by the neck. Remy wakes up, and the nurse, a young guy who likes flirting with Remy, walks in. So Remy talks to Luke about what just happened and her boogeyman, basically. And Luke says that she needs to be careful both in the dream world and the walking world. So Remy wakes up in the dream world. She's now in her old room. And she says, "I know you're here. Come on out." There's this creepy clown in her bedroom. The boogeyman then jumps on her. In the waking world, she's falling in the bed, and Luke, watching the monitors alongside the doc, rushes into the room to help her. The doctor calls security. Next, Remy's father comes in and asks what's wrong. She says nothing. She's not in distress, says the doctor. She's simply in a deeper state of sleep. And back in Dreamland, Remy is at tea time with the boogeyman. The priest that was partly responsible for drafting up the pact, he shows her face. Caleb and Miranda get a call from Luke. The teapot on the stove starts buzzing. Miranda goes over the pot. They look into the reflective service, and she says that they need to find Remy immediately. They go to find Remy, and Remy asks the man why they were chosen. Are they the smartest, the strongest? And I definitely enjoyed this next scene. You know, that guy that she's talking to, she asks him point blank, why were we chosen? Are we the smartest, the strongest? And the man says it's certainly not random. He doesn't really give her an answer. And I'm just like, damn it, give us an answer! Because it's annoying. It really is. It's annoying that they're not just going to give us an answer. Remy asks why he killed Luke's father with the cursed knife. The man says that he's just the deal maker, not the murderer. The town does its part. The man says there's a debt on the books and he always collects. He's trying to kill Remy in her sleep. So now this guy is Freddy Krueger. Pretty much. He's trying to kill Remy in her sleep. He's pretty much Freddy Krueger. So yeah. Remy's trapped in the dream world now with the man, and she's dying in the real world. The doc tries to save her, but she's going fast. The man says he'll answer all sorts of questions, but first he wants to know how she wins the pact and who helped her. And then somehow Miranda enters the dream world. We don't know how, but she knocks the man in the head with a lamp and then says they need to go now. They find their walk to the black abyss. Remy jumps into it. She wakes up the man, grabs Miranda. She says, I might not understand how this dream hacking works, but it's time to get out of my friend's head. She pushes the man into the abyss, and they fall. Remy's safe. Remy is safe and she's going home, but they didn't really find out who killed Luke's father, but they do know that now that the knife is the tool that he uses to make his deals with. So that's pretty much the episode, and overall, I absolutely love this episode. I thought it was another really intense, but really amazing episode. I really loved every single minute of this episode. My one question is, how the hell did Miranda get into Remy's dream world? We know she's a ghost, but how did she get into the dream world? I'm definitely interested in seeing how she did that. Why is Remy in this dream world? Why is this happening specifically to her? And what's the whole deal with the 5-pack? Why is it just them? Why is it just the 5 of them? We know it's not random now, so what's the reason? What do you think the reason is for that? Also, why did Dillon, Dillon tell Springer to plant that knife, in her father's yard? That was definitely interesting to see. And also, it looks like we're getting really close to finding out who killed Luke's father. We're getting really, really close. We know the knife is a tool he used to make his deals with. And also, what about Caleb? Do you think Caleb is gonna start to, listen to Miranda's advice? I don't think so. I think he's starting to fall in love with Miranda. You can clearly see that. And, I'm all for this. I really am all for them getting together and starting a relationship. I would like that. And also, is Olivia going to find out more about Dillon? I think that's going to be the next episode, where she finds out more about Dillon. But again, great episode. Another fantastic action-packed episode. The best part of this episode was Remy's storyline and Olivia finding out more about Springer. And also, Miranda and Caleb's storyline, while it was good, it was nothing compared to the other two really big storylines. Also, what was his name? Why didn't they get the book from Mr.Price? Why didn't he let him take it home? We don't really know. That's it for my review, though. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you guys in the next video, which will be probably not for a while. It'll be my review of Arrow, which will be later tonight. So I'll see you guys for that. Bye.